Hi everybody, welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Navarro, certified wellbeing expert, working in educational institutions and companies, supporting family wellbeing. And as you know, every week I interview different experts who make a difference in people's lives. And today I'm super excited to be interviewing Amanda. Amanda, thank you so much for coming on. Please, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Thank you very much for having me, Jasmine. I am a coach for lawyers. I'm a success coach for lawyers. I help lawyers through any adversity, if they're struggling at work, or even if they're looking to empower themselves or to be promoted. So I'm here to support lawyers. I am a solicitor. I'm non-practicing, but I practiced for many years in an international firm in the UK. I've been in Dubai for 16 years, and so I worked with the Dubai government, the legal affairs department, the executive council, and I moved in-house. My passion was helping people, and so I moved in-house, and then I retrained as an HR professional as well, and then I moved to learning and development primarily for lawyers, and now I have my practice, and so I'm full-time coaching, supporting, mentoring, and training lawyers.
Oh wow! You sound like a busy bee, that's for sure. But well, yeah, so excited to talk to you. So you chose this title, The Connection Between Confidence and Resilience. Can you tell us what made you decide on that title for today?
I think this is something that is really close to my heart. And I look at it from the legal profession, but I also look at it of everybody. Everybody needs confidence. Everybody needs well-being. Everybody needs to be resilient to cope with the high-pressure life that we have today, or even when it's not necessarily high pressure, but you're facing all sorts of adversity. Everyone thinks that they're confident or maybe not confident, but I like to look at what confidence is, and also look to see there is a huge link between that and resilience. And if you don't feel very resilient, I've got some ways that you can take away with you and to look at how you can build your own resilience.
Amazing. So first of all then, so that's such an interesting point that you made actually about confidence, or all of everything that you said, the connection between confidence and resilience, and we can talk about that as well. But yeah, what is confidence? Because I think it's different for everybody, and that's okay as well. So what do you think? What is confidence for you?
I think confidence for me, it just allows me to trust my own judgment. It makes me able to make decisions, perhaps to take calculated risks, to stretch myself, and also to approach any sort of situation feeling positive, feeling happy, not feeling nervous.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, confidence is trust. I like that, trust.
It's about approaching obstacles. It's not necessarily, I mean, it could be anything. It could be, it doesn't have to be something like a job interview or anything like that. It's just getting up in the morning, happy, positive, and thinking, I've got the day ahead of me and I'm going to enjoy it. That's confidence as well. It's a mindset, and it's how you then act on that mindset.
Yeah. And for me as well, confidence, like when I think of confidence, I think of peace, feeling peace. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's that positive attitude, that positive mental attitude. It's not worrying about things. It's we all have worries and that, but it's that it is. Yeah, I agree with that. It's being at peace with yourself.
I love that. Yeah. So what's the connection between confidence and resilience, and why is that important, do you think?
I think resilience to me is I love the word bounce back ability. So it's the ability to recover from setbacks, to adapt to any changes, anything like that. And it's that positive attitude. It's staying focused. It's having that positive attitude. And I think that to be able to bounce back, you have to have belief in yourself and belief in your confidence in order to overcome the adversity that you're facing. that and develop that resilience. You can develop both. Some people are super confident, some people are super resilient. You see, you know, you can look around people at work or families and friends, and you think, well, they're really resilient. How did they get to that? And it might be that they were born with it. It might be that they faced adversity or challenges, that sort of thing, and just developed it bit by bit. It's a long process, but it's something that everyone can do.
Oh yeah, I love that. And I think that's really true, isn't it? Because I think they both like sort of complement each other.
Yeah.
Because when you were saying that, I was thinking, which one am I more of? But then, okay, sorry, it's just me. I keep thinking I'm thinking of so many things now to ask you. So, but you can be. It depends on which area of your life as well, doesn't it? Because you can be confident in one area of your life and everything's great and maybe you're resilient in that area, but then another area you might not have any confidence. Like what do you say about that? Yeah,
absolutely. And I think a lot of that's also to do with how much self-belief that you have in something. It could be that it's something that's brand new. You may be a really confident person, but you're nervous. I mean, an interview is a great situation. You know, I'm really confident. I know what I'm doing. I know my job inside out. But when I come to being interviewed, what are they going to ask me? Am I going to have the confidence to give them the right answers? I really want this job. It's a very positive self-perpetuating cycle. But I can't see. I mean, you're absolutely right. I can't see anyone who will be 100% confident in everything, 100% resilient in everything. And I think a lot of it is also to do with how you feel that you can approach a situation, particularly if it's not something that you've come across before. That's about mindset, because it could be that you've got little gremlins. You've got an angel on one side and devil on the other side, and it may be that they say, "Oh, you've never done this before. Don't know how you're going to feel about it," you know. And then it's listening to those inner voices, and it's being able to not listen to the negative inner voices. It's listening. It's self-belief. It's listening to yourself.
Self-belief, isn't it? I think you hit the nail on the head. You can be confident in many areas of your life, but if you're doing something for the first time and you really have especially if you're doing something for the first time and you don't know what to expect, you have all of that uncertainty. I think the uncertainty, and of course the doubts will decrease your confidence, won't it?
Yeah, I think so, because I think there's that natural feeling of needing to preserve yourself, that self-preservation, that might sort of turn the situation more negative for you, because you might think, oh, well, you know, and you start going through these scenarios in your mind, and you think, well, if this happens, then that could happen, and so I've got to sort of prevent myself from falling over or getting burnt out, or, you know, rather than I think it's a harder. It is as a sort of human nature to think more negatively about something that could happen that hasn't happened before. It's like when you start to drive a car, for example, you know, you don't get in there and think, I'm going to jolly well drive down this road and do it brilliantly. You just think, oh, what happens if I crash, or what happens if I stall? You naturally think about the negatives rather than thinking about the positives. And it's identifying that actually happening and thinking, hang on a minute, what's the worst that can happen? It hasn't happened. Why am I thinking like this? You know, be more confident about it. There's nothing that's going to go wrong here now. And then that can actually help you even be more confident by telling yourself to be more confident.
Reassuring yourself.
Yeah.
And I think as well, when you were saying that, it made me think, you know, when we start asking ourselves all of these questions, and they are normally negative questions, maybe it's about as well, just because then you're thinking about the future, aren't you? So maybe it's just best to be present as well. Don't even.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think by doing that, you don't start thinking about creative reasons why you shouldn't do something, or why you should. It's actually also, that self-belief is such a powerful thing. It's a very positive, powerful thing. It's it's self-perpetuating, really. The more confident you are, the more resilient you become to face something the first time or face it a second time. And also knowing that if it's something that has happened before, oh, this happened before, that's not going to happen again. It really is that mindset. It's that growth. It's very much a growth mindset, because you don't want to be fixed into saying, well, no, it's never going to happen. Oh, I'm never going to be any good at this. It's identifying those things. They're not really me. When I say these things, oh, I'm not good enough, or I would never do that, I'm not confident enough. And you can sort of take a step back now and say, hang on a minute, I'm going to look at myself right now. I'm not like that. I'm great. I'm confident. I've got a lot of self-belief.
Yeah. And also, I think as well, like if you do something and it's not how you expected it to be, and you didn't do as well as you thought, I think the growth mindset helps there as well, doesn't it? Because you can think, well, okay, what can I do better next time? I did it. I got through it. How can I improve? And, and I guess not being so hard on yourself when you're going through something for the first time. I mean, I'm talking about myself, actually.
No, I agree. I agree with you, because I think we've all been there, and I've certainly been there. And I think it's the difference. It is your attitude. It's the difference between something you might have failed at something, or something hasn't come out the way that you expected it to, and you are disappointed, and these are negative feelings. But if you can reframe mistakes or failures as an opportunity, I know it sounds cheesy, doesn't it? But if you reframe them as an opportunity to learn next time, and also if you look at if you look at people, I'm thinking of Richard Branson. He always comes to mind when I think about this, and it's like, if he'd given up when he failed the first time, he wouldn't be where he is now. And as all people like Richard Branson, inventors, James Dyson, he would never have invented hair dryers and the fans and everything that we use today. I mean, this is what invention is all about. But it's approaching those as opportunities rather than giving up and just checking yourself. Just keep that presence of mind and checking yourself and saying, right, am I approaching this positively, or am I wallowing?
Yeah.
If I'm wallowing, then stop wallowing. No one is going to be sympathetic with me for wallowing in my mistake. They will say to you, get back on the bike, get back, do it. Don't worry about what's the worst that can happen. Is a good way of putting it.
No, you're right. And let's just say hi to Nadira. Hi, Nadira. She says, absolutely resilient people are confident. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
You agree? And hi, Bahuz. How are you doing? Thank you for joining. And yes, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat, or any comments, please let us know. So, okay, talking about that then, resilience and confidence, if somebody's not feeling confident or resilient, like what ways do you have to help people develop each of these? Because I know there's so many different ways.
Yeah, I'm sort of thinking about a few now. We've spoken about a few of them. Things like, one of the things you can do is very, very importantly, one of the things that you can do is practice self-love, practice compassion. Not to be, be kind to yourself, be understanding. Don't be hard on yourself, and don't get too hung up into negative talk, and just realize that it's normal. It is normal. This is something you see from in my background, from the legal profession. It's much better now, but in years gone by, we were always told that failure is not an option, and you weren't allowed. You studied and you worked and you practiced to be perfect. Perfection was the way you had to be, and so through my career as a lawyer and as a coach, I've noticed that it's actually quite difficult for people to get out of that mindset. But it's to understand that to practice self-care, self-love, to understand that that we are all human and mistakes happen and failures happen, but to look at those as an opportunity. So and that's even just something as simple as pampering yourself, getting enough sleep, having the mantras, being, I'm strong and confident, I'm resilient. Even just saying that to yourself makes a difference.
I think we all need these reminders, don't we? Like, we all sort of, most of us know what we're supposed to do, but you have to have, I need a constant reminder every day. But it's interesting what you said about, oh my God, I've just forgotten. I'm so sorry, Amanda. You said something really interesting. Okay, we'll come back to that. No, yeah, carry on about developing confidence. Because I think you said there were 6 ways. Are there any more?
we talked about about developing a growth mindset and getting out of a fixed mindset, knowing that that you can embrace failure as an opportunity for growth. I mean, we talked about that. We talked about practicing self-compassion. I think also understanding your values and understanding your goals. So knowing what motivates you, which can help you to find meaning and purpose in what you do. And this can help you to stay motivated, so that if you do come across any adversity, or if something happens and it does give you a little dent in confidence, knowing that is only a tiny dent in confidence, and knowing what your goals are, you staying on track, so you stay confident, knowing that there's a bigger picture there for you to a bigger pathway for you to carry on.
And actually, I just remembered, so sorry, just before we finish, it was about the self-compassion and being hard on yourselves, because I think that's such an important point to make, because I think when we can be self-compassionate with ourselves, especially, like, for example, when I do something for the first time, I shouldn't, I or anybody else, we shouldn't expect ourselves to be amazing at that thing the first time we've done it. And so many times I do something for the first time and I have such high expectations. I want it to be absolutely amazing. And it's not. Of course it's not, because it was the first time I did it. And I used to be so hard on myself. Now I still am. It's an automatic response I have. But now I catch myself and I think, no, stop. I'm human. This is normal. I'm not going to, be amazing the first time. And I think that is a really important point to make, I think, when we can be really
I agree. No, I totally agree. And I think that being compassionate to yourself, not being so hard on yourself is really key, because we can still, by being compassionate, we can still have very high standards. It's just realizing that we're still human. And I think that really leads to another thing, is that if sometimes you can get to the stage where your resilience is low, your confidence is low, and even though you're trying to be kind to yourself, it may be that one of the things that you can do is find support. We're all human, none of us is alone, and we've all felt like this. And sometimes it's good to remind ourselves that's the case. We're not the only ones that are going through something that's actually knocking our confidence or resilience. No one will laugh, if you speak to friends or family or a mentor or someone, anyone who can provide emotional support and also someone who can help you to brainstorm through it. And that's the key. It's actually not being afraid to ask for help. And I think that's something that I never used to be. I did a post on this yesterday, but I was saying that I never used to be able to ask for help. I found that it was a weakness, it was a failing. And then I would struggle through, and then that would knock my confidence even further. And then that's downward spiral resilience. I would get emotional, and then I wouldn't be able to cope with the things that people can cope with on a day-to-day basis.
Definitely. And you're putting so much pressure on. Let's just say hi to Dr. Safe. Hi, Dr. Safe. This is really helpful. I'm enjoying this great session. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. Please let us know if you have any questions or comments. Sorry, carry on, Amanda.
That's great. Thank you, Dr. Safe. That's really, really good to hear. I think it's also knowing your limitations. We want to set goals for ourselves. We want to improve. We want our growth mindset helping us to learn, find opportunities. But it's also focusing on things that we can do, being realistic, stretching ourselves, of course, but being realistic. Celebrating our achievements. And as you said earlier on, focusing on the now. Don't dwell on the past and what didn't happen. This is like coming out of an exam and saying, oh, I wish I'd written that. Oh, I didn't write that. Why didn't I? No, that's just not it. It's just not.
It's done.
It is. It just doesn't help anyone at all. And I also, I mean, the last thing that I would say really is that as well, as well as having growth mindset, being kind to yourself, setting goals, finding support is actually really looking at what you do during the day. Are you, apart from looking to be kind to yourself, what does your day look like? Are you drowning in work? Are you drowning in stress? Look at your working practices. Do they help or do they hinder you? Because your confidence and your resilience levels are also impacted by your stress levels.
That's so important. That's amazing point to make.
It's taking back your level of control really over what you do. If everything is controlling you, if you're drowning in work, if your customers or your clients are chasing you, if people at work are chasing you, then that's no good at all, because that's bound to have a really bad impact on a negative impact on you, on your stress levels, on your mental, your physical health. So it's looking at things like
your performance.
You
won't perform as well as you can, and then that's going to knock your confidence as well.
Yeah, and then you start beating yourself up, and then you start dwelling on the things. So it's looking at your things like your time management techniques, your procrastination. Can you collaborate? Can you delegate? Can you prioritize? It's looking at your daily work, and I think that's that's 20 sessions in itself, looking at that type of thing. But overall, and I know it's difficult, we all work in really high pressure environments, but you can deal with a high pressure environment if your confidence and your resilience levels are high. That also is the connection between the two. Yeah. And by doing that, it's actually having control of your work rather than your work having control of you.
And I think it's about, like you said, it could take, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of things to think about, which actually takes up a lot of time and energy as well. But I think also it's important just to start this, isn't it? Just to take a tiny step. You don't have to change everything tomorrow and then you'll be confident and resilient. It's just what one thing can you do that's going to point you to becoming more confident or resilient.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the first things that you can do at work, because what you need to do is to take back control of your work. And it isn't a quick fix overnight, as you say. But one of the easiest things that you can do, if your desk is a mess, tidy up your desk, because that psychologically, if often the busier you are, the more files that you've got open or papers everywhere and things. It's just literally, and then just tiny steps, as you say. If you start to feel that you're losing a bit of control, it's just those techniques like deep breathing, taking breath, or even just walking away from your desk. There's lots of little techniques, but one of the main things, I think, it's like tidy desk, controlled working environment, using people around you, your support network, your teams. And even if you find it difficult to do that, it's actually confiding in, talking to someone, saying, I'm drowning in work. No one should ever feel like that. And there are things
it'll have a negative effect on everyone around you, won't it, as well?
Oh, and completely, yeah.
And Beru says, Jasmine, would we ask questions? Beru, if you would like to ask a question, please feel free. We don't have much time, so put it in the chat. And anybody else, if you have any questions, please let us know. Yeah, that's really interesting. So you've given some really simple tips, actually, but we need to be reminded of these powerful tips, don't we? And
I think you're right. It's not. Everyone says, "Oh, I know what confidence is. I know what resilience is." But then we forget that sometimes when we're faced with a situation, and then we either start to panic or we start to feel negative about ourselves, and that's just not fair on us to feel like that. We have the right to feel amazing about ourselves, but sometimes resilience doesn't come overnight. Resilience is something that it has to be. It's like a muscle. It has to be stretched and it has to be worked on. And so none of us should ever feel bad about not feeling resilient. We can develop it.
Of course, yes. And we're always going to be in progress, aren't we? Work in progress.
Yeah.
All of those tips you gave for confidence, are they for resilience as well, or do you have anything else that you would say about resilience?
I think I think they because it's a perpetual cycle. I think the more confident you are, the more resilient you are, and I think a lot of it comes down to having that positive mindset, that positive growth mindset. And if you're faced with a problem, to not at all think, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Because your confidence will lead to you being able to deal with it. And I think to celebrate, if you fail, pick yourself up, or face something, pick yourself up, and just your resilience is saying, I can do it, or I've done it. Is looking in the past of it. I did it this way, and I'm going to do it this way again, if not better.
Exactly. Doesn't have to be perfect. What did I learn from this? What can I do better? And I did it. You're right. I did it. I got through it and I did it. I think that's
and learning from others. It's not just really about what you did. It's like, I'm facing this for the first time. Ask your friends, ask your family, ask at work, ask your network. Don't be afraid. I've never faced this before, and I'm not confident, and I don't know if I've got the resilience. What happens if I fail? So you can actually get information from other people and advice from other people to help you with your resilience.
I think it's really good to definitely ask other people for help, and there's a lot of help out there. But then at the end, make that decision, do what feels right for you, because sometimes I think it's great to ask other people, but at the end, you make the decision yourself. You really, and that helps you trust yourself in the future as well when you listen to yourself.
Exactly, because sometimes you might listen to everyone else and then think, no, I'm not going to do it that way because it doesn't suit me. It doesn't suit how, and that's how a child learns, isn't it? By falling over and getting back up again, and how they learn to walk. And sometimes we've got to do that. And even as you said earlier, just trusting your instinct. And what we don't realize is resilience instinct has a lot to do with resilience as well. And it's just a case of your confidence leads you to go for it. If you go for it and it doesn't quite work out how you wanted it to, that's where your resilience jumps in and says, but it doesn't matter, I'm going to do it again. Rather than feeling foolish, rather than feeling like you're failing, that is actually all a mindset. That is something that you don't have to do. You've got a choice. You've got a choice whether you feel like that or not. And you might really feel upset about something, but that will pass. And then the resilience will kick in. We can feel upset. We can feel unhappy. And I suppose it's understanding that it's absolutely natural to feel like that. But then after that, don't dwell on that. After that, then start to build your resilience.
Exactly. And if we are feeling like that, we can just ask our emotions, what do we need, or what are you trying to tell me? I think that can help as well. But we are running out of time, Amanda. It's been amazing talking to you. Thank you so much for everybody coming on with your questions and comments. Amanda, you mentioned, is there anything else you want to say first before we tell us?
No, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to talk about this. Something that you and I said before we went live. This is something that we could just talk about for hours, but hopefully that has helped. And back to LinkedIn, to your LinkedIn message announcement of this. I've got a book by Joe Decina that I want to recommend on this. Brilliant. He's the chap behind the Spartan, extreme sports brand. And then I've also got a free audible book on resilience, which I've been listening to.
Oh, amazing. Yes.
We'll put into your feed as a recommendation.
Oh yeah, please do. That would be amazing, Amanda. And how can anybody find you, reach you?
They can find me on LinkedIn, and within LinkedIn, I've got my details, my contact details online, so they can find me there. And it'd be great if anybody would like to connect with me, to follow me, to ring my bell, and to engage with my content. So thank you. I look forward to seeing people.
just to say, you do have amazing content. So yes, definitely follow Amanda
Thank
with her
you.
content. But thank you so much, Amanda. And thank you, everybody. I will see you next week. And thanks again, Amanda.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jasmine.